Yeah. So we're back, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I missed the train, but look, when a train is supposed to leave at a certain time, you gotta be at the station when it's leaving. Otherwise, your ass will get left. Lucky for me, the train came back around, and I'm on it this time. Okay, I'm on it this time, and yeah, man. So, BQ, I missed your review, your instant reaction, real quick. So I guess we'll instant react together here. What was your thoughts on the show?
So what I was saying on the review is that initially when I was watching, like the reverse battle royal to me was pretty bad, and
Mhm.
then the Ultimate X match, it was entertaining, but I thought it came off like an AEW match where there was all these like spots that were pre-rehearsed, and it was just like
Mhm.
there was no flow. Like the X division compared to like that AEW style is that the X division is always like really free flowing, and even though they come up
Right.
with some really different spots and unique offense,
Yeah.
it just happens in the moment. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
AEW is like, okay, everyone's staying here, you stand there, and then wait 10 seconds for me to do this. And that's how this came off to me.
Yeah.
So and at first I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know about this pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah.
And then as that match continued, I'm like, okay, it's cool. And then I started getting into the Knockouts tag team match. And then Moose and Sammy, I was kind of like bored in the first couple of minutes. And then all of a sudden it got like really, really good. And then
Right.
from there, it just kind of like took off. The Good Brothers thing was they took a shit in our mouth with that. But besides that, I mean, it was good overall. And then looking back at some of the stuff that I didn't initially like, I'm like, it's actually pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I thought they really delivered with it. It sucks because the buzz wasn't there,
Hmm.
and that was disappointing a lot of fans. Like,
I
man, no
agree.
one's talking about this shit.
But I heard a lot of people talking about just that fact that there was very little buzz and it felt like there was very little promotion. And it's funny because like I distinctly remember a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was saying about how Impact Wrestling's do better with their digital marketing, and then somebody jumps in my comments like, oh, what do they need to do better? It's like, yo, dog, no, 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 no. Like, I'm not a digital marketing specialist, right? I'm not gonna sit here and detail you they need to do X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3. That's not my job, right? But what
Right.
I do know is I don't see the advertisements. I don't see the buzz. I don't see that, right? Like, you just gotta recognize what you see. And I heard so much conversation from people just being like, man, there's no buzz for this show. And one thing I realized about the show, I said this to my daughter the other day, is comparison is the thief of joy, right? And you gotta remember, like, you gotta always remember that. Like, comparing yourself to something else will steal your joy. And for me, watching Impact Wrestling, I have to stop comparing it to like AEW or WWE. I have to stop watching Impact Wrestling wanting growth. I have to stop watching Impact Wrestling looking for growth and just enjoy the show that they're putting on. Because, like, all in all, if you just think about the snapshots, the different things, like, this was a really cool, really nice show, man. Like the appearances from the different TNA legends, the Hall of Famers. I love seeing Dixie Carter on there. Like, again, I've been no stranger to saying how I followed that whole Dixie Carter trial, at all the information that was being posted about it. I was reading the documents. Like, Dixie Carter was no saint. But the truth is, TNA Impact would have been dead and gone a long time ago if she wasn't robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep Impact on the air somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, like, Dixie Carter deserved to get some flowers from the Impact fans. Tonight was the headline to me coming out of tonight is that Josh Alexander is the real deal. Josh Alexander is the real deal. As much as I've been on this platform saying, where's our guys? Right? As much as I've been on this platform saying Chris Bay is the guy they should be treating like the face of the company going forward, Josh Alexander is that. He is that because they want him to be that. But let's be honest here. How many of the recent Impact Wrestling champions have delivered main events the way Josh Alexander has?
It's
I
true.
I I cannot think of one.
Right. I was a big fan of, probably a bigger fan than most people, but I was a big fan of Rich Swann as a champion. I've always said Rich Swann doesn't deliver a bad match. It's
No,
impossible,
you're right.
but people also weren't behind him as like
The
he's
company
the
wasn't behind
man.
him the way this is.
Right,
And
right, right.
I noticed that with a lot of wrestling companies, by the way. Like I noticed that a lot of wrestling companies, um, a lot of wrestling companies had like pandemic kind of break glass in case of emergency. Let me see what I can do to get some ratings.
Yeah.
And it's kind of effed up when you think about it. Like, for example, in AEW, they did that with Jon Moxley, right? They put the title on Jon Moxley, and I guess the idea being, let's see, let's get all that WWE audience to come over and see what's Dean Ambrose doing as the champion of this new promotion, right?
Mhm.
And even with WWE, during the pandemic, you know what WWE did? They started booking for black fans. They were like, think about it. During the pandemic, oh my God, Big E won the Money in the Bank, and Lashley won the title, and you know what I mean? Like, and now that they got the fans back, look what they've been doing, bro. Like, I mean, like now, in fairness, Bianca has survived the storm, and she's the real deal. Lashley's come out pretty good on the other side, but they wiped their ass with Big E, man. But anyway, the point is, a lot of fans, a lot of wrestling companies seem to have their like, we're gonna do this in the pandemic, and once we come out, I guess it's back to business. And I think Rich Swann, unfortunately, was that for Impact Wrestling. Like, they put the title on him because just like you said, if nothing else, they're going to get a good match, right? But bringing it back to Josh Alexander, man, like these matches, and I was, up until this main event, I was like, man, this pay-per-view was largely a dud for me. But that match, man, that match was a love letter to TNA and to the history of TNA.
Yeah, it was genius.
And I thought it was so dope because we talk all the time about how there is such a presence among the Impact fans of people who want to go back to TNA and do as much old TNA stuff as possible, and this match was for them. You know what I mean? This match was for them, and I thought that was beautiful, man. I thought that was beautiful because it was just really like, again, this whole night was like a big thank you, to the history of TNA, and I thought it was actually really great. I thought it was great seeing the video packages, AJ Styles. I thought that was a big one because they gag on AJ Styles as much as they possibly can, and Sting. Like I thought Kurt Angle. Like, man, they really, really, really did a great job, I thought, just with all those little things, because I think the fans absolutely loved it. I think the fans ate that up, and I think all those things are going to be the things people will remember about this night the most. But in a vacuum, you can take that match that Josh Alexander and Eric Young had tonight, and it's going to stand the test of time. That match was outstanding.
I thought they paid tribute in a really classy way without being TNA. That was my concern. I was like, man, they're gonna go too far TNA on this.
Yeah.
But what I was saying in my review is that they did a really good job of staying within with the now. Like, you knew they were Impact.
Right.
Like AJ Styles did his. He wasn't talking about his time in TNA. Like, he was calling it Impact. They stayed. They were. It seemed like they were looking forward, but showing respect to the past as opposed to living in the past. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we're Impact now. I had to bring up this comment here at the bottom. Tommy Dreamer had got on Busted Open. So, there's going to be an announcement about that's going to get more eyes on the product. When you say stuff like that to the Impact fan base, like, they want to know what it is. They want to know now.
Right.
And then if you say you're going to say it, like, you got to tell us. People are still looking for the distribution deal from I forgot who announced it, if it was Len or whatever, but of course nothing happened. I don't know if I don't think it's a TV deal of any sort. I really don't. I think it's going to be something along the lines of the show being on Pluto, Because right now Pluto just shows TNA stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that they have something really, really huge planned. You know, I just think it's some kind of streaming deal or something.
No, yeah, I think that like again, I think that I kind of, and this doesn't sound like I don't want this to sound like rough or like morbid or anything like that, but like I think as fans, I think it's time we abandon this idea that Impact is going to have significant growth. I think we just got to enjoy it for what it is, because all we're doing is setting ourselves up for disappointment. With going this place, and we're, oh gosh, this venue has so many seats. Oh man, they're not, bro. They're not. And if they do, it'll be great. If they do, it'll be great. But let's, let's keep following the storylines we like. Let's keep following the wrestlers that we like. Keep paying you $1 or $5 or whatever to the YouTube Insider, and just keep enjoying what they do, man. Because like, there's no. I'm telling you, man. Like, watching Impact, hoping for growth is at this point it's a fool's errand, because we can't control that, man. Fans, we can't control that. We the fans, we support the company as much as we possibly can, right? And we're going to keep supporting the company, but like, we can't change the global or internet-wide perception of this company, and we can't make them spend more money to change it on their own. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to enjoy what they're doing, enjoy what they're putting out, and like, stop comparing it to other products, because this is who they are. They are a company who from the top is content putting on a wrestling show. And like, I was watching something with Jeff Jarrett the other day, and he was talking about his time in like Impact, and he was saying how the philosophical falling out between him and the Dixie Carter was that he wanted to be an alternative to WWE. They wanted to be Impact Wrestling. And I can never know specifically what that means, but I think it's more along the lines of, Jeff Jarrett was focused on like running a business and growing a business. That's why when you saw Jeff Jarrett come back to the company for that brief period, what was happening? Press releases, things that were generating, like, that's around the time when I think you really started growing this channel, when Jeff Jarrett was releasing stuff all the time. Like, you would do like a podcast drop or like a YouTube drop on like every little press release. And so it became to fans, right? Like, okay, I'm going to see this blurb of news. I'm going to go to YouTube, and BQ is going to be covering it. You know what I'm saying? And it was great symmetry. But like, right now, they don't do that. Right? Like, they are content just putting on a good wrestling show, and it's a very good wrestling show, and I'm happy and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And so we got to just keep enjoying it, because like, I think watching it and just hoping for these big, huge, giant crowds, listen, there'll be times, right? Like when they were in Philly this most recent time, they had a hot crowd. It was a good sized crowd, and that'll happen from time to time, but I don't think that they are putting in the work to draw those kind of crowds consistently. Not the wrestlers. The wrestlers are doing an amazing job. They are busting their ass out there. But I don't think from a marketing business standpoint, right, they're not doing what they got to do to attract bigger crowds. So
yeah, and I think, I mean, I don't think I'm guilty of it. There's a lot of things that I compare to AEW. But I also, make it a point to say, I know they don't have that kind of money. It's more the mindset and the marketing mindset. And so here's an example. Like, I try to compare it in areas where I know Impact can do it. So AEW's Instagram, when they have Rampage come out, they will produce Instagram specific graphics. Let's just say it's Wheeler Yuta versus the Blade. I'm just whipping out two wrestlers. They'll do YouTube specific graphics, and the first one only has Wheeler Yuta on it, has like his stats, like like you would in UFC or something like that, finishing move, and then they will post the next 3 bits of content will be highlights of him, some of his better moments in matches, just to look strong, and then the 4th piece of content will be a picture of the Blade. and it's like, here are his stats. And then the next time they post content, it's like 3 videos of him getting offense. It's just a way to leverage social media. So those are areas where I was like, man, they can do this. So even though I compare them to AEW a lot and want them to do those kind of things, I feel like I usually am fair in the way I do it. I don't want them to like have pyro or anything crazy like that. I had to bring up this comment here. I had it on the screen for a bit, but it said Impact's really changed. I sat front row for $75, was on camera a ton, but hardly anyone there. When AJ hit the screen, insane pop. You could definitely hear that pop. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Said that was his job in TNA, website, social media management. If you liked it until 2009, all me. We got to get you on one day, dude, and talk.
Yeah. I bet you got some stories, bro. We
yeah,
love
my
to hear
God. But yeah, so the crowd. He's talking about the crowd here. What I was saying in the review is like it was clearly like 3 times the size of a television tape. Like when they don't show the crowd a whole lot on TV, but they have certain angles where it looks like, oh, there's people there. But then when you look at this, there's clearly more people there than for a television taping. And we also know there weren't that many people there.
Right.
And did you notice when during the reverse battle royal when Mike Jackson was walking around, you could see that they blacked out. Like they set up the rows and then they set up like black
So I wasn't sitting down watching at that time. Like Sunday nights are so busy for me because we're doing all the stuff, getting the kids ready for the week and everything like that. But so I was like kind of watching it and doing 7 things at the same time. But I could tell obviously that there was empty spaces, that there weren't, the seats weren't as full. It's just it's crazy too, bro, because I like, oh man, like they're coming off a pretty hot run. Like but here's the thing.
right.
It felt like a lot of stuff was like hot shotted, right? Like they had the influx of the ROH guys, then they had the Bullet Club guys. And the thing about using those guys is you have to use them to build interest in the guys who are going to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, like the buzz of the the Honor No More guys just being there wore off, right? And the Bullet Club, that buzz is kind of worn off. Jay White's going away. He's on AEW TV now, and like it's kind of like, man, like what?
like PCO versus Jonah. Like what? PCO is probably gonna be gone here.
Those matches were so good. Like Jonah was so good. But like, what did it lead to? You know what I mean? Like the person who ultimately beat him was who was it?
It was
Ishimori.
No, PCO beat. Well, no, he lost to Josh, but that was early on.
He lost to Josh early on, which was fine. And then he was killing people. And he was killing people in such a way that I was like, yo, he needs to be challenging for a title because like he's destroying everybody, right?
Yeah, he squashed the K off television.
Right.
Yeah.
And so but so it's like they brought in these people who had some name value, and they didn't do anything to convert that name value into returning customers. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're just gonna hot shot stuff, like to me that's the problem with that strategy is what happens when you run out of stuff to hot shot.
Yeah, I really think what the mindset is okay. So as fans, we don't like the 6-month contracts and all that shit. We don't. But if we're being realistic, that's probably the best they can get out of some people, because wrestlers are going to be like, hey, is AEW hiring? That's just how it's going to be more often than not. So I think a lot of people are afraid to sign those long-term deals. So I think they've come to the realization, okay, if we can get someone for 6 months, that's better than nothing, and it'll keep the product fresh. So I think if I had to, take a guess, I think that's what they're trying to do is to keep the product fresh. So they have no problem cycling people out. It's just as fans, majority of fans, I think we can appreciate a fresh product, but at the same time, not so fresh that we don't even know who the hell is going to be here, who's not going to be here from show to show. People just leave out of the blue. Like when, the inspiration left, dude, like that hit people out of left field. They're like,
yeah,
already? Like that wasn't even a 6-month deal. It was like 4 or 5.
But shouldn't they be doing the best stuff with the people who are going to be here? Right? Like you should be doing the most fun, exciting stories with Trey Miguel, with Ace Austin. You know what I mean? Like this, you should be doing the stuff that's going to make people want to stay. The stuff that's going to make people pop. You should be doing it with the guys who are going to be here. You know,
Right.
You know, it's a, you know, I say this all the time about WWE. If Roman Reigns becomes unavailable, they are fucked. You know what I'm saying? Because they have minimized everyone else for the betterment of Roman Reigns. And then they got a saving grace when Cody Rhodes became available. And then he came in there and then he was really hot. And then now he's unavailable. And it's like, yo, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, oh, break glass, get Brock Lesnar back in here.
You're
you know
right,
what I mean?
right.
And if you pay attention to just even like wrestling Twitter, right? Like WWE fans collectively were like, oh, not again. You know, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar 75.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw that on Twitter, yeah.
And so I think that if you're Impact Wrestling, man, like, you know, you gotta look at the people who are look at what they did with Josh Alexander. You know, like they long-term booking. And to Josh's credit, when Josh comes out there, he delivers. He delivers in promos. He delivers in matches. Like Josh delivers, bro. Like in every possible way, as a world champion. Like they have not had a world champion that I can think of that you could just guarantee, you could put your money on he's gonna have the match of the night.
Right.
And he's done it consistently.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, and that's why I get frustrated with the, you know, the Rohit Rajus and all that, who, you know, it's kind of like they do their thing, and then when it's time to re-up these guys, it's like, we don't want to put money towards the people who want to be here. Because we have to save it for these other guys who are going to be here long term, you know, I mean, short term or whatever. I want to ask you about Slammiversary, because you said it was kind of a dud for you. I said it started off kind of as a dud for me, and then it just kind of like progressively got good. So you didn't like the Queen of the Mountain match?
Okay, so the problem with those Queen of the Mountain matches, King of the Mountain matches, is like, I think anytime you do something that minimizes a pinfall, it's a bad idea, because a pinfall is supposed to be the culmination of the match. So you need to have, if pinning a match is not how you win, then you need to take the pinfall option out of it. I don't know, because it's weird. Like as wrestling fans, we're conditioned when we hear 1, 2, 3, it's supposed to be followed by a bell, right? And so then we keep hearing the 1, 2, 3s, and there's, I don't know, and then you got to grab it and then climb. I don't know. It's tough. I thought they did a good job, you know, narrating along. This person is now eligible. Like I thought he did a good job with it. It's a weird match concept, but it was fine. Actually, I thought they did a really good job, and I was happy with Jordynne Grace winning. I'd have been, you know, happier if Tasha Steelz won, just because, you know, always I like Tasha Steelz. But I thought Jordynne Grace was definitely deserving of winning. She's done so much. She does so much to promote herself, promote what the company. And, you know, she's somebody who I think is a good person to have as Knockouts champion. You know, you can always get a good match out of her. She's going to make your product visible on social. And, you know, like, I think she's a good choice. So I'm a fan of Jordynne as the choice to win there. And I mean, it was good. I thought they did a really good job. I thought the Queen of the Mountain match was good. I thought they did a good job.
I was all about it. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I really did. I had a point I was going to bring up and completely forgot, but I know what you mean. Usually there's a pin, you want to see a bell, you know, I get it. It is a weird match concept. Oh, what I was going to say was Cornette talked about, and this was like a mailbag question. Tell me about the reverse ladder match. It's like, oh, this was a concept of shit stains, you know what he calls Russo. And this is like a week before Slammiversary, and Cornette's reach is huge. He gets hits. he's going over the rules of the King of the Mountain match, and he makes it sound like the stupid, like they're laughing as they're talking, you know,
Right.
like there's a penalty box and you gotta hang the belt instead of, you know,
Yeah.
they made it sound like it was the stupidest match on the planet.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, if you just explain the rules like that, yes.
Right.
But I mean, I thought they pulled it off pretty good. You know, um, what did you think of Moose and Sammy Callahan? Because what I was saying was I was at first bored because I was like, it's just a hardcore match. We've seen 50 of these, I think,
Yeah.
last episode alone. So I didn't really care. I thought the whole Moose is not eating for 24 hours. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, now we're just being corny. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
at first, I'm kind of like, please make this match. And I
Yeah.
was already tweeting, you know, in a conversation like, oh my God, they got Moose in the lower part of the card. Can't believe they're doing this to him. Da-da-da. But then by the end of the match, I was really into it, mainly because he was so impressive and he was taking like a real punishment, you know, throughout the match. You know, a lot of the time these guys will go through the barbed wire tables and stuff and they got a shirt on or something, you know, but like Moose he didn't have no shirt on, man. He just went right through that stuff.
Yeah. I was a little conflicted coming into this match about who to expect to win. Obviously, this is Sammy's comeback match, so I expected Sammy to win. But it also feels weird to me when somebody is just coming off of a world title run to have them go right into losing. Like, to me, that's just weird, right? Like, I think when somebody comes off of a world title run, like the thing to do is to keep them strong but away from the title, right? So I think so when you look back at, like, let's say Moose, you can be like, oh yeah, Moose is still dope. Like, he was a champion for a while, you know, like, you know, whatever. But I don't know, man. Like, to me, Moose losing this match felt weird to me. You know what I mean? But like, but I understand, you know, like Sammy. I understand Sammy getting the win. Shout out to Mike Gilbert. He says he thinks Moose is hurt and he'll be out a while. Like, I haven't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, Moose is, you know, he's a top tier athlete, and a lot of those guys are. Oh, shout out to Lil Silver. What's up, man? Had to drop in and you know, and get these thoughts out here for you. But I thought the match was good. I thought it was a very convincing win for Sammy, right? Like the way he won, the way he kind of, you know, what was it, like it was like 2 pile drivers in a row. So like that was a pretty decisive win. Sammy, though, I think Sammy is a good, I think Sammy's a good like representative for Impact Wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sammy always promotes Impact Wrestling well. You know, like, he's a guy who Impact can, I feel like, rely on. Partially because I don't know where else, you know, Sammy's gonna go. I don't know if AEW's like beating down his door or anything like that, but he's good. Like, Sammy Callahan has good matches. You know, I said this before, like, there's a reason they trusted him with Tesha Blanchard. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the few people who pull good matches out of Brian Cage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Sammy Callahan, he's good. He's good. You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with Sammy winning. I just always think it's weird when somebody is coming off of being a world champion and then they go right into losing. But yeah, so but if Moose is gonna lose, Sammy's not a bad, you don't look bad by losing to Sammy Callahan.
Yeah, he didn't look bad.
Right.
No.
So he didn't look bad in losing Sammy Callahan. And I thought I thought that one part at the end though, and I gotta say, I'm not a no sell guy. I hate no selling, you know what I mean? But there was one part where he did something to Moose at the end, and Moose just got up and was like, and I was like, yo.
Yeah.
But see, that's an effective use of no selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an effective use of no selling. It's like, the more we talk through this, like, that was actually a good ass match. I think that everybody, and we're getting a lot more people here in the chat, and a lot of people I'm seeing consistently disappointed by the turnout in the audience. So Impact, do your job, get some more people there. But yeah, man, like Moose and Sammy Callahan had a good match. And the more we talk through these matches were good. And you always want to be careful about putting the blame on the performers where it belongs in the lap of the company. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like it, the women who went out there and killed it in that Queen of the Mountain match, or the X Division match, or any of those matches, like they don't deserve the blame for it being a half empty building. They don't deserve that blame because it's not their job to go out there and promote. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, this was a good show, man. I think what would you say was your favorite things coming out of the show?
So I really, really, really enjoy the Queen of the Mountain. That was the one I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't in the Twitter chat, wasn't tweeting. I think I tweeted once, just like I was really feeling the match. I was really into it. Aside from that, the main event was the one that I really didn't expect to like, and I liked it because just the TNA moves and the old school stuff, like
Yeah.
It was perfect. Like it was just genius. It was just like a story. We haven't seen that kind of story told in a match before. But other than that, there was nothing that like blew me away. I just found myself enjoying the pay-per-view. I thought it was just easy to consume overall. I like the Knockouts tag team match, actually. It wasn't match of the year or anything like that, but if you think of the normal, like the influence versus inspiration, I mean, compared to some of these other matches we got, like it was one of the better ones, I thought. The Ultimate X match was just the one that I got when I was previewing this show. I was like, this is going to be one of the best matches ever. I really thought the style of each wrestler was just, they were going to do some really cool stuff. What they did, it's just clear that, before the match, they went over everything. It wasn't smooth for my taste. What caught me off guard with this pay-per-view, though, was all the title changes. I mean, you're talking about, I didn't expect the X Division one. And we're going to talk about that here in a sec. So I want to know your thoughts on it. The X Division, the Knockouts tag team, the freaking tag team. We're going to talk about that too. The tag team, wasn't there one other one? I'm starting to lose track of all these titles now. I feel like there was 4 changes. X Division. Oh, the Knockouts champion. I mean, Rich Swann retained. I didn't get to see that match because they had technical difficulties. So hopefully I'll watch it later. But do you think it's good to have that many titles? I mean, we don't typically get that many title changes, but do you think that's a good thing? And as far as it's kind of like, hey, we're going to keep things fresh. It's kind of like a reset period,
Yeah. So I'm not like bound to the idea that, this many title changes is good, this many title changes is bad. Like, I don't think of it like that. I'm more about like, what's the story we're getting out of each match? You know what I mean? Like, does the story in each individual match make sense? If it does, then I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, if the title change in this match made sense, then I'm fine. If the title change in this match, made sense, then I'm fine. Right. But like, in the X Division match, it's weird because like I feel like Ace Austin just got that title, and there was so much buzz about him, going over to New Japan. So I would think you would want to keep that title on him. But by the same token, they have been telling the story with Ace Austin and Speedball Mike Bailey for a while. So it's not like this came out of nowhere. It would have been weird if the guy with the red pants, who was that guy?
Alex Zane.
Alex Zane. If Alex Zane won, that would have been weird. Because like, okay, where have you been? And like,
I thought Andrew Everett was going to win it at one point.
Oh my god, that would be crazy.
So I was like, yo,
man, Andrew Everett used to dress just like Trevor Lee, and like now he has to wear a singlet.
Yeah, because he's Andrew the Giant.
Yeah.
Man, Trevor Lee, I used to hate those shorts he wore. It was like a thin nylon. And I was ringside for a TNA show in Orlando, and he walked past, and I was like, dude, those are thin, like little, they're not wrestling trunks. They're like nylons.
Oh man.
Because you always see his freaking junk moving around and stuff. I was like, dude, I can hate when this fool wrestles, man. But I thought with Speedball has the opportunity to be one of the more homegrown guys, and I just thought it was like really early to put it on. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They have a history of, hey, we got gold in this guy, we're going to put a belt on him. You know,
Right.
that's just what they do. But at the same time, I just thought there was more chasing he could have done one on one with Ace. Like, I don't think
Right.
I mean, to win it in a multi-person match, he looked like, I was saying this in a review, he looked like surprised that he won. Like when John Cena won the Money in the Bank by accident,
Yeah.
it almost seemed like he was shocked, you know. So I'm a little concerned because he doesn't. I don't think he has the chops to be cutting promos as a champion right now.
Hmm.
And you know, like you said, Ace Austin do all the Japan stuff. There's people in Japan. Some of these, you know, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna sound racist if I try to make up a name. I don't know the names for shit.
Right.
But there's people on Twitter challenging him for the X Division Championship.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, yo, you got all this. You know, it's as hot as New Japan is right now with the AEW stuff, which I'm not gonna watch that pay-per-view because I don't like New Japan.
Right.
I mean, no disrespect to anyone that does. We just all have our own flavors. That's not
Dave
mine.
Meltzer's coming for your ass.
Yeah, he is. He's knocking on my door right now. But I mean, they just seem like with the buzz they've got going on with that right now, you would just think we want to have some of those dudes wrestle Ace Austin for the X Division Championship. You
Right.
know, because Mike Bailey's still kind of relatively an unknown. So I don't know. But then they ended up putting titles back in the, you know, on the Good Brothers to keep the
Right.
Bullet Club hot.
What is the obsession with keeping the Bullet Club high? Oh my God, yo, it's 2022, bro. And by the way, I was thinking about this the other day, man. Bullet Club has done nothing for Chris Bay. Bullet Club has done absolutely nothing for Chris Bay. Like, he doesn't get to go to the New Japan shows. He doesn't get to go to AEW. Whenever they wrestle in Impact, he's the one that has to eat the pin. Like, what the, you know, like what? How is he benefiting from being in Bullet Club at all? You know what I mean? Like what is Bullet Club doing for Chris Bay? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, bro, and I could not help but notice how much, how differently Ace Austin got booked on his Japan trip, as opposed to how Chris Bay got booked on his Japan trip. And I was like, this is some bullshit. And they both ended up in Bullet Club because apparently that's the biggest thing you can come back from Japan with, is being a member of Bullet Club. So, you know, Ace Austin went there and became a member of Bullet Club, just like Chris Bay went there and became a member of Bullet Club. But like, you know, I mean, come on, man. Like, if you are going to be a member of Bullet Club, there's got to be some sort of like perks to it. You know what I mean? Like, again, what's the big perk for Chris Bay? He gets to team with Jay White, and he's always the one that's got to eat the pin.
Taking the pin, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, what the hell? What good is Bullet Club, man?
Well, in the reverse battle royal, they were basically teasing Chris Bay and Macklin having something, which is weird because they're both heels.
Weird.
So I don't know.
But the thing about Chris Bay, and I say this all the time, is like, I think Chris Bay could be like, he could be your good guy or he could be your bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, apparently they don't see what I see in Chris Bay. Because again, if they did, they'd heat him up. You know how I know they heat him up? Because they heated up Josh Alexander. Okay, like, I always say this, like, saying that you know, like, they should do something is one thing, but you got to understand, if they saw things the way I saw them, they would do things the way I think they should do them, right? And so if they saw the promise in Chris Bay that I see in Chris Bay, then they would have been doing all the stuff that I've been talking about. You know what I mean? Like, he'd have like a long X Division title reign, and he'd be having great matches, and they'd be, you know, making him the poster boy and all this other stuff, just like they're doing for Josh Alexander now. So, I mean, they like who they like, you know, and they push who they want to push. So
it's hard to believe that he was the X Division champion at one point.
Right.
Like, it seems like it was forever ago. It's like a complete blip on the radar.
Right.
You know. But I mentioned the Bullet Club. I mean, well, obviously the Bullet Club. I mentioned the Good Brothers. So they got the belts. I don't understand. Someone said in the Twitter chat earlier, like, they got nudes of Scott D'Amore or something, man. Because, I mean, Talk about not listening to your audience. Nobody wants these guys as champions. I don't
Right.
mean like, okay, we disagree on this guy and we agree on this guy and we all have our different opinions. Dude, I haven't seen anyone. I'm sure there are people out there, but I haven't seen anyone on Twitter like, oh, like let's get the belts back on the Good Brothers. Let's more Good Brothers television time.
Right. Like, you know what I need? I need some more Good Brother stuff. Anybody got some more Good Brother stuff? Like, nobody's asking for that shit. And I think like it's funny because I saw on one of the most recent Shooting Up North episodes, Lewis was talking about how the Scott what's this guy's name? Carl Anderson. He was making little comments talking about, yeah, if you want to get the good performances out of Good Brothers, you got to bring out 2,000 people, not 200. And I was like, oh, yikes. So yeah. Good Brothers, not sure what the love is for the Good Brothers.
Yeah, fuck these dudes. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking this is their last match, We might have got the Briscoes' last match.
Right.
Yes. So, I was bringing up this tweet here. Let me grab it. So Chris Bay, I notice his Twitter, man. Every once in a while, he posts some really weird stuff. Like there's mental health issues there with this guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's every blue moon. It's just like you just see this tweet from him, like, dude, are you okay?
Yeah, you mean like depression type stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like being a wrestler is hard, bro. You know what I mean? I think like, unless you work at WWE, like you really are like hustling. And it shit gotta be hard, bro. Like think about it. Like you have a birthday every now and then, it just makes you take a step back and be like, yo, what am I doing with my life? You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you are a struggling wrestler living hand to mouth, then like, I don't imagine you are being too kind to yourself with some of this stuff, some of the reflections. So to me, any wrestler who is like depressed from time to time, I feel like I can't blame you because, again, like you chose this life and it's not very friendly to you unless you, find some way to hit it big and you're making a lot of money. But who really is unless you're in WWE,
Right. Yeah. It seems like he may have some money issues a little bit just from some of the tweets, but
yeah.
Or I don't know if it's money issues, but it seems like he just wants more.
Right. Yeah,
don't we all?
Right.
Man, I forgot to talk about this in the review. That angle with James Storm and Chris Harris, I'm not an angle, but just what happened after the match, where they all came out and drank beer. That was easily my least favorite thing on the show. I was like, what is this?
I think it would have been even more least favorite if they actually wrestled. Chris Harris has not looked in shape in about 20 years.
No, I was worried he was going to be in the Team Impact Originals.
Right.
I was like, oh God, no.
So, I mean, like, it could always be worse. Okay. It could always be worse. Now, here's what I do fear is that America's Most Wanted came out tonight. They got a whole set of tapings. Well, how many more days are they going to be in Nashville?
A couple days, but if you notice, Impact rarely brings people. We call it a one-off. They rarely have someone show up once. If they're going to be there, it usually seems like, hey, we're going to pay you for a 2 to 3 nights.
Right.
Right. So I bet you they're going to wrestle, man.
So exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, I feel like the fact that we saw them tonight and they were doing a little stuff like kind of coordinated together, it's likely.
But yeah, that was my least favorite part of the show, man. I mean, it was unnecessary. It was the only part of this show that I was like, this is unnecessary. This is unneeded. This was like, we just have to get, dude, it reminds me of Bound for Glory 2017. This is the one you want to review, where there was supposed to have a red wedding match, Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. I think it was the two of them. Taya got hurt. So yeah, it was Taya. So she got hurt. So they just had to get Rosemary on the pay-per-view. So they like randomly brought her out at the end of it was like some kind of Monsters Ball match or some shit with Abyss.
Right.
Randomly bring out Rosemary. She has nothing to do with the storyline. Takes a choke slam from Abyss that makes no sense whatsoever. Like it just stood out like a green hat with an orange bill.
Right.
And that's like what I felt like with this. I mean, obviously it's very different. They weren't wrestling, but it was like they just wanted to get James Storm on the show.
Right.
So he comes out and has beers with the Good Brothers and the Briscoes. Like they just had this match. They had like here in the comment, they invaded the farm. You know what I'm saying? They were messing with the kids and the dads and stuff like that. All of a sudden they're just gonna have some freaking beers together.
Right. Right.
I didn't enjoy that at all.
It was like, very weird.
What the fuck was this?
Yes, a lot of what the fuck was this? But listen, I think the beautiful thing about it, and to me, this is the true mark of a world champion, is that like at the end of the night, like what we're all going to remember is that Josh Alexander and Eric Young knocked it out of the park. They really did, bro. Like Josh Alexander and Eric Young really knocked it out of the park. That match, like I said, was a love letter to TNA. But I think that the thing that Impact Wrestling needs to focus on, the people in charge of Impact Wrestling to focus on, is the future. You know what I mean? Like, listen, if you want to do this every year at Slammiversary, I am fine with that, bro. Bring back the 6-sided ring, bring back the double entrance ramp, you know, do the TNA stuff all week, like do everything all TNA for Slammiversary. I love that. Make that a consistent thing we're doing every year. But you gotta ask yourself, what am I doing for the young fan? What am I doing to move the company forward? Again, there's a 15-year-old fan out there who was 7 or 8 years old when TNA got canceled from Spike TV. Okay, they have no idea about most of this shit. You got to ask yourself, what am I doing to make this person a fan for the next 20 years? You know what I mean? And that's what I don't see from Impact Wrestling. I don't see them creating that thing, right, that's going to keep the fan for the next 20 years. And that's what I think they need to start focusing this product on, is like, how do I make this a product that people are going to be, you know, excited to come out and see? And when they get here, they're going to, you know, stand up, clap, stomp, yell, cheer the whole time. Like, make this fun, make it sound and feel like NXT, like that whole deal. That's where Impact management needs to focus their direction, focus their dollars, focus their marketing, focus all that on like moving the product forward. It is fun to do this. I enjoyed this. This was awesome. It was great seeing Dixie Carter. It was great seeing Sting, Kurt Angle, all those people. That was awesome. That is great, man. And let's come back and do it again next year. But between now and then, let's do something to move the product forward.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pull this tweet back up. You know, they're gonna be on the road to Bound for Glory here, and it just feels like I felt like after Slammiversary, either the Good Brothers or the Briscoes were gone. I was hoping it was the Good Brothers. So, will the Briscoes stick around? I don't really know. Is Davey Richards going to do some stuff? Is the Honor No More guys going to be there? It just seems like this set of tapings can pull up and half the men's roster is going to be gone. You know, so they're going to have to cycle some people in, because as Mike said there, I heard that too, that Moose was injured. I thought that's why he was off TV this whole time, because he hasn't wrestled since the last Impact Plus show or whatever. I thought he was rehabbing then, but he might be taking time off now. He can definitely sell it after that match. And so he's gone. I'm pretty sure Tennille Dashwood, I mean, I'm talking a knockout here, but I'm pretty sure she's taking time off. It's like they got to bring some people in with these tapings that have to get us excited about Bound for Glory. You know, I have a feeling the Honor No More guys are going to be done, and we could see them disband on this next episode. And then Eddie might have a program with Davey if he sticks around at all. I don't know what his contract situation with MLW is.
That was one thing I actually really liked. I liked seeing Davey Richards. I thought that was great. And I thought that I remember back before Davey left the last time, I thought they should have done Davey Richards versus Eddie Edwards for the X Division title, just because it was a good feud that had personal elements to it, and I thought that would have just really made just made it feel made the title feel big, right? It made the story, everything like just feel big. And so seeing Davey Richards back tonight, like again, if we're doing callbacks, like this is perfect, right? It's perfect because like these guys have been there for a long time, but they're also evolving, right? Like Davey Richards looks different now than he did the last time we saw him. Eddie Edwards looks different now than he did when those two were together. So to me, it makes perfect sense, right? Like let's do something. We can do something with them. There's a natural connection there. And I do like the one thing that I think it was Scott D'Amore said during the match. He was like, in this match, we have representation from all these different wrestling companies. And I thought that was dope. You know what I mean? I thought that was like really dope because it was true, right? Like you had representation from, AEW, from Impact, obviously, from MLW, like all that stuff. And I thought that was really cool. To me, that's the cool thing that Impact can really bring to the table. And but again, right? Like, if that's what you're going to be, like, you got to push it. You got to market it. Like, let people get to know you as that. Don't just let it be a thing that happens sometimes. Because honestly, this shit feels very thrown together sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it feels very thrown together. When I saw Dixie Carter, you know what my first thought was? That it was going to be EC3. And I thought that would have been cool too.
Same here.
It should be like, my nephew, Ethan Carter. And I was like, oh, yeah. But I mean, David Richards was fine, but I started thinking EC3.
Right? Yeah, I thought it was going to be him too, but I think that was a good surprise. I don't think it was one anyone saw coming at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Things are, thrown together. Like this comment here about W. Morrissey, like they could really use him right now for the, especially this build up to Bound for Glory. Like I thought that was just a huge loss. So it's going to be just interesting to see who they. I mean, I have to believe Eddie Edwards is going to be the big challenger for Josh Alexander, but I don't know. I don't know who else could.
If you had to call it right now, give me 2 matches you think are going to be at Bound for Glory. What's the main event of Bound for Glory?
I'm leaning towards Eddie and Josh. I really am, but I am also leaning towards them doing that match at like Impact Plus and completely just giving it to us. And then maybe we get like a 3-way or some bullshit. I hope not, but I'm going to say the probability of that happening is pretty high because I can't imagine who the hell else it would be.
Eddie Edwards and Josh Alexander a Bound for Glory main event?
Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, the thing with Bound for Glory.
Let me ask again: is Eddie Edwards versus Josh Alexander a Bound for Glory caliber main event?
I want to say yes. I can't imagine them having a bad match, but the thing with Bound for Glory is they typically put people in the main event. I guess they do with most pay-per-views, but especially Bound for Glory, who were in WWE before. That's what I'm saying. Mia Yim is going to challenge. So that's my other one. Mia Yim, Jordan Grace. I am positive on that.
I can see it.
I can see one-on-one. They'll both be in it.
But I think what they need to do. I think what they need to do. Mike Gilbert with the $1 million question. I think what they need to do is do some more character building, man. Do some more character building. Like Jordan Grace is very good in the ring. She's very good at promoting herself on social media. Like, she has good matches and all of that stuff. But like, I to this day I couldn't say Jordan Grace's character is, you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't, but I will say this though. Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich, like again, because you've built up Masha Slamovich as somebody who just squashes people, right? So again, keep letting her squash people. Jordan Grace, to me, like I like it. I like the idea because again, you're getting that whole like unstoppable force, immovable object thing. I like that. I say let's do it. I'd probably do a title change. Masha Slamovich is running. Keep letting her run. If I had to pick a main event for Slammiversary right now,
there's some comments here about Ace Austin. Maybe that's why he dropped the belt. And
could be.
I'm cutting you off to say that, but I was saying too that after he dropped this X Division championship that he has to go to the main event scene, dude. He cannot go back to qualifying for Ultimate X and shit like that. You know,
I agree.
They have to move him up.
I agree. And we've been saying this for a while, right? Like, how many times can he be the youngest person to yada, 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 and all this other stuff? So, I mean, you know, like, at some point you got to get to it. At some point you got to get to it. And by the way, I don't know why people don't seem to like wrap their head around this. It's good. What you want ideally is you want to have your two young pillars. I don't know how young Josh Alexander is, but he's relatively unknown, so he feels young to the wrestling audience.
Yeah.
To me, if we start something where Ace Austin is Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander, and these are the two guys like at the head of Impact going at it for the next, 5-6 years, I'm okay with that. I think that's good because those are both two guys. Say what you want about Ace Austin, he delivers in matches too. Ace Austin delivers in matches too. Like, find me a bad Ace Austin match. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
true.
so I do think that I think it's time, man. Like, I think it's time. I think they should build to Ace Austin challenging Josh Alexander. Maybe now that Ace has Bullet Club, he can do some more things like that. Josh Alexander is on that Super Cena program, so he's like defeating heel armies, and so that'd be great, right? Ace Austin with the help of Bullet Club finding his way to challenging Josh Alexander for the title at Bound for Glory. I think that's a great in-house match you can make, unless you can secure like some big name to challenge Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
somebody were to shake free from AEW or WWE, or you come up with some sort of deal where you get hold of some big name from AEW to have. First of all, I don't want Impact doing any more business with AEW because God damn it, anybody who comes in from AEW has to win apparently. So Josh Alexander will be dropping the title to fucking Jungle Boy if they get the chance to do that. So I would say if they can secure some big name outside the company, cool. If not, build to Ace Austin, man. Like, again, let's look forward.
And Steve Macklin's a possibility as well. I mean, I would like to see that, but he was in the Reverse Battle Royal tonight, so they just talked about he was on a hot streak, and then he's in the Reverse Battle Royal. So I mean, you got to heat him up to the point that you don't even consider using him in that type of match.
And by the way, the Reverse Battle Royal was not that bad of a concept. Like, I saw the original when they posted it, and I was like, man, they had a different name for this when they did the match in TNA back in the day. And obviously this was called the Reverse Battle Royal because somebody, probably like Meltzer or the Dirt Sheets, like they referred to it as, Impact did a Reverse Battle Royal, and they shit on it by calling it a Reverse Battle Royal.
Right,
so this time they just called it the Reverse Battle Royal. But it's like, I mean, I get embracing it, but the match concept was not that bad. Like, wrestling is stupid. Wrestling's supposed to be stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. So I don't know. I didn't think the Reverse Battle Royal was that bad.
I mean, I thought it was bad, but it wasn't like bad. I don't want to watch it. I mean, I was entertained.
I mean, it's no worse than AEW's fucking Spot Fest ladder match where you get a giant Sonic the Hedgehog ring at the end. Geez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nobody who's ever won that shit has ever won anything. So, like, I mean, come on.
It's like Gauntlet for the Gold.
Yeah, the Fight for the Right tournament. That's what it was called originally. I mean, like, to me, it was no worse than half the other shit you see in wrestling. Give me a fucking break.
It was like Gauntlet for the Gold. Like, no one ever actually wins a title. Would you want to see New Japan wrestler against Josh at Bound for Glory?
I mean, like, listen, I don't watch New Japan like that, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, Switchblade, but again, I wouldn't. The problem with that is, like, Impact does not seem to be able to hold their water with when it comes to letting their wrestlers win against popular people from the outside. Like, did Switchblade do a job the whole time he was in Impact? Oh, I think
he lost a couple matches.
He did. Okay. If he had been coming from AEW, he would have went straight.
He randomly lost to Chris Sabin, and
yes,
yeah.
But I thought because he has like a prior relationship with Chris Sabin, right? Or is it Alex?
No, Shelley? With Alex Shelley.
Alex Shelley, yeah. But again, I think that's fine, right? Those guys are, vets. They're on his level in that way.
Shogun was in the freaking reverse battle royal. I could not believe.
Was he?
Yes.
Shout out to Shogun.
They had some out of shape TNA dudes.
Shark Boy won, right?
Yeah, he won.
Yo, my 4-year-old, he was watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl today. He was like, his name is Shark Boy? I was like, it's a different Shark Boy, son. It's a different Shark Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he won. Him and Swinger were the last couple.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny on Impact that Swinger was saying he was going to win because last time he was in a battle royal, they threw him out. He was the quickest elimination. And Raj Singh was like, that's not how the reverse battle royal works. He thought it was who would lose the quickest.
Right. That's funny. All right, man. Look, it's getting to be a little late. I gotta get up. Listen, man, thank you to everybody who hopped in here in the chat. Shout out to all you guys. BQ, you want to tell the people where they can find you on social?
BQ Speaks on Twitter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you guys can follow me at TW Talking About on all the social medias of choice. If you want to also be so kind, you can follow my podcast page at Talking About Pod. You can follow the Talking About Pod YouTube page and go ahead and hit some. I have not uploaded a while in the Talk About Pod page. To be honest with y'all, I've been busy as hell in my real job. And so I have not had a chance to get any podcasts up for y'all, but I got some stuff coming. So go ahead and subscribe to the Talking About Pod YouTube page. I got some stuff coming your way. Woo!
All right.
You want me to hit that outro for you?
Sure, why not?
Real quick, everybody, make sure you like, comment, rate, and subscribe. But if you really want to help out the page, the best thing you can do is tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. For BQ, I'm TW. Peace.